Ahead of us, the final game in round 16. It's Toulouse against Clermont Auvergne, rugby's equivalent of Barcelona, Madrid, Manchester United and Chelsea, if you like. Two old foes, plenty of previous. The gloves are off for a prize fight in the Ville Rose. This is round 16 in the top 14. The other 6 matches have already taken place, and this is how the table looks. Toulouse in 6th against the top side here, and a win at the Stade Ernest-Valent, or a win here or there, I suppose you can say, can make such a difference. Grenoble celebrated a stunning win at Toulon yesterday. Toulon in 4th place. That's just 9 points ahead of Oyonnax, who are 3rd bottom. That's how close things are in the top 14 at the moment. Both coaches tonight have tinkered a little with their lineups. Guy Novès is short of options at fly half and has switched Jean-Marc Doussin from what has become his regular role at scrum half. Clement Poitrenaud moves into the centre. The pack is close to full strength. The back row all likely to feature for France in the Six Nations. And what a bench. Plenty of options there for Toulouse if things threaten to go astray. Vern Cotter has more wriggle room in terms of league points than his opposite number, and that's why this selection is a good guide if you're a Harlequins fan looking ahead to next week. For instance, Brock James at 10 suggests Mike Delaney is being held back for the trip to southwest London. Among the replacements, the name to take note of, Paul Judrasiak. He's a lock and was captain of the France under-20 team at last year's Junior World Championship, and he's billed as a future senior international. Well, there you can see Wesley Fofana, one of a handful of players starting tonight for Clermont Auvergne, who I think will start next week in the Heineken Cup. But so deep is this Clermont Auvergne squad that they can come here with real hopes of springing a success. They're aiming for their 7th straight win in all competitions. They're 5th in the top 14, and they are the form team. Yana Famark there, Clement Poitrenaud at 12. Well, I'm Martin Gillingham, alongside me Tom May. Tom, formerly of Toulon, of course. What do you make of the selections made by both coaches?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's a difficult time of year. You have to balance different competitions. But you see two teams here that aren't going to take a backward step. The two biggest budgets in the league by a country mile, to be honest, and the best attack versus the best defence. I think it's just so exciting to see so many big international names facing up to each other in different areas of the field, and there's some real battles to take place tonight.
Well, certainly fireworks before we've started. And this is a match which in past seasons has been taken across the city to the big football stadium. Expecting a full house this evening. What a month it is for both of these sides. Toulouse next week, they've got Saracens. That perhaps the biggest game in the Heineken Cup so far this season. Then have something of a breather, although the pressure will be on in Italy. The final round 6 game in the Heineken Cup at Zebre in Italy. And then away at Racing in Paris in the top 14 the last weekend in January. As for Clermont Auvergne, what a month they've got. Quins away next weekend, then Racing at home, both those matches in the Heineken Cup. And Bayonne away, and there through the haze of the fireworks, we saw the referee tonight, Christophe Berdos. There's Guy Novès. That's quite an image, that, isn't it? Brock James against a background of white as the smoke clears. They may have to wait a couple of moments, actually. There you go, Christophe Berdos thinks that maybe the fireworks, the pyrotechnics, which have held at the start of this match, as we see some lovely images there. That's Thierry Dusatoir, the Toulouse and France captain. The periphery, you can see over to the left there, winding away, heading in the direction of Montpellier and Perpignan and places like that.
I think perhaps they were hoping for a bit more wind.
Yeah, it's one of those evenings, isn't it, where it was a great idea at the time, but they may have to wait a couple of moments. It certainly is a kick-off you want to be taking rather than receiving, I might suggest. There you go, the mist clears. It's like a scene on Dartmoor, isn't it? Yes, and there is a bit of a hold-up, and I can tell you why. Our French colleagues at Canal Plus speaking there on the touchline to Guy Novès. You might have seen him at the bottom of the screen. Thierry Dusatoir. Such a figure.
I think the back row is such an important area tonight. We'll see the Dusatoir, Picamol Nianga against Bonaire, Vosloo and Chuli.
Clermont Auvergne, 49 points at the moment. Those 49 points from 15 matches. This is the final game in round 16 before the 2-week break for Europe. Yano Vermaak, the former Lion, Blue Ball and Springbok. Bhutan didn't get to that. There's Vermaak again. Remember Lee Byrne, injured, unavailable. Still recovering from that serious shoulder injury. He has announced that he will be leaving Clermont Auvergne at the end of the season. Jan Montes, the tight head. I think it would be fair to say that this is closer to a full-strength Toulouse side than the Clermont one. Doussaint wearing 10 tonight. Superbly gathered there by Clement Poitrenaud. He's been such a reliable servant for so many years. Médard onto Picamol, onto Doussetoir, the captain, into the Clermont half. There's Médard, poor pass, but well gathered there by Doussaint, onto Poitrenaud. That was Yannick Nianga. What a back row it is for Toulouse. Picamol, Doussetoir, Nianga. A little stab through. Well, good field position early on for the Rouge et Noir.
It's a fantastic start, isn't it, for Toulouse? It's exactly what they want playing at home. Probably a side lacking a bit of confidence at the moment. Keeping the ball in their own half, and then very intelligent kick from Doussaint down the touchline. Fantastic to have a player like Poitrenaud in your squad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody who is versatile. And well, they aren't short of fullbacks, are they, at Toulouse, with Huget, Poitrenaud, Médard. They've got 3 playing this evening. Brock James. Well, there's nobody underneath it. Médard, perhaps rather fortunate there. The fullback in danger of being showed up. There should have been a name on that. Vermaak. Back here to Doussaint. Just getting under the attempted tackle of Zurkashvili, eventually spun to the ground by Julien Bonaire. There's Doussetoir onto Picamol again. Up to the halfway line. Inside pass to Huget, that was well read by the defence, turned over. Here's Napoleone Nalanga. Would certainly expect him to start at the Twickenham Stoop next week. Such a crucial round of matches in the Heineken Cup coming up. There's Wesley Fofana. If you were picking a world 15, I reckon he'd be one of relatively few European representatives, Wesley Fofana. Are you a Fofana fan?
I am a massive Fofana fan. I'm not sure he'd probably make it into your team in the centres, though, would he? There's a lot of other candidates.
Tell me who you'd have.
Yeah, I think one of those slots would be filled by Nonu, would it? I would think.
Who's your other one?
Well, I'll put Fofana in. Just for argument's sake.
You don't have to do. I don't have a monopoly on wisdom.
Extérieur, on peut monter.
There's Shuli. Herod Vosloo, playing what we expect to be his last season as a professional rugby player. Racked up a few tries as well as Vosloo. A hat-trick against Bayonne in the rout of the Basque team. Radoslavjevic starting at scrum half tonight. There's Tiepolo. The former Crusader started at Super Rugby final. James. Here you go with a delightful dancing feet of the great man, Mr. Fofana. Radoslavjevic left it behind for a moment. May have been a hint of a knock-on. The referee says it's okay. There goes Benson Stanley. Radoslavjevic on there to Bhutan, who has real pace. Oh, and then the ball spilled forward by Shuli. Away comes Johan Montes. There'll be a boot on this in a moment. There it is from Doussaint. Back is Jean-Marcelin Bhutan, himself a full international. And here is that pace that I was talking about. Taken down by Vermaak. Fofana was on his shoulder. Fofana inside. Couldn't quite find Julien Malzieu. Well, there is no doubt, and perhaps I'm repeating myself, that this is not a full-strength Clermont-Auvergne starting 15. But if there was any doubt about their commitment to this fixture, well, it's certainly been answered in the first 5 minutes here.
It's an interesting comparison so far in the first 5 minutes, in between the way Toulouse are playing and the way Clermont have started. A lot more movement within the Clermont play. Toulouse are perhaps a bit happier to use the likes of Nianga and Picamol off the sides of the rucks to get them go forward, and then happy to kick and put the pressure on. Clermont looking a lot sharper with ball in hand.
Yes, the throw in a little crooked from T. Paulo. 17 caps for Samoa, for Paulo. Recently signed a contract extension. Expect to see him at Clermont for at least another 2 seasons after this. There's for Mark. As you'd expect for a fixture of this magnitude. I think it's not that easy to come by. The reverse fixture went the way of Clermont, as you would expect at the Stade Marcel Michelin. It's now 70 straight wins that the Jonards have up in Volcano country. Here's Julien Malzieu. The tackle that time from Yann David. There's Bonner, on to Brock James. In comparison with some of the pitches we've seen in France this weekend, the Stade Ernest Vallon looks as if it will suit some decent running rugby. There's Loic Jacquet, he too a France international, almost goes without saying when you look at both these sides. Zerkashvili, he plays his international rugby for Georgia. Well, they're camped on the Toulouse 22, and Radoslavjevic knew that the advantage was being played. Julien Pierre has taken a knock.
Unbelievably quiet, the stadium. Normally you would associate Toulouse, a home game of this magnitude, you'd think the place would be buzzing. You can tell that perhaps the Toulouse fans feel the team are under a bit of pressure.
Well, they are, aren't they? Despite this tremendous record that they have at home over the years, they don't get beaten too often. Certainly not at the Ernest Vallon. I remember Toulon beat them about 3 or 4 years ago.
6-3, was it?
It was all kicking. It was Felipe Contepomi, I think, who was playing at fly half that day. And then it was a long, long time before Perpignan won there by a single point. Gavin Hume got the winning try. That was in February, wasn't it? Last year. But then, despite a great start at home in the top 14, they lost to Connacht. A really surprise result there in round 3 of the Heineken Cup in December. And then a game that maybe they should have lost against Bordeaux-Bègles. So the last 2 home matches here, beaten by Connacht and dodged a few bullets against Bordeaux-Bègles.
It's not the same Toulouse that we would expect to see, is it, at the moment?
And that's a worrying sign if you're a follower of Toulouse. Jean-Marc Lermet, he's very much the power at Clermont-Auvergne, director sportif. He does the hiring and firing. Just caught a glimpse there of Christopher Tolofua. Tolofua, the hooker tonight for Toulouse. Became a full France international as a teenager. Dusan with the left peg. Here's Nalanga. Wrapped up by Houget. Houget is one of the most improved players in Europe. I know many well-trained eyes thought he was an accident waiting to happen for so many games at international rugby, particularly when he was playing at full-back. Great step there from Jose Guia. Taken down by Jacquet. Here goes Maxime Médard. Nianga. Tolofua. Good on his feet. So is Picamol. He's blasting his way forward for Mark. There's Dusan. Well, the crowd have found their voice. The ball is in the possession of the Rouge et Noir. That was Jan de Vie. There's for Mark. Well, taken by Dusan. Poitreau. Taken down by Stanley. Change of direction onto Sculp Ferreira. Been a dream few months for him. Well, Fosloo coming in from the side. Goes back, isn't penalised. Good offload there from Nyanga. On goes Albacete. Well, that time Bonaire was the wrong side. Here's Jan de Vie. You know what you're going to get from Jan de Vie. Not too many frills. As for Mark. Oh, Medard! The offload to Picamol. Just pushing off Nalanga. That's a measure of how powerful Picamol is. Dusan, long pass out onto Gia. All black on all black there. Montez. Great continuity here. So many games this weekend in France have got stuck in the mud. No chance of that here. Through goes Fosloo. Arm is out. Monsieur Berdos has run out of patience. Been quite generous to Clermont over the course of the last couple of years. Away goes Huget! Huget saw it! What a run from Johan Huget! Inside as the ball got forward. It's gone over the line and Medard's got the try. But I reckon Christophe Berdos is going to pass this on. And the reaction of Maxime Medard suggests to me that he expects this to be ruled out.
Fantastic piece of acknowledgement of where the space is on the field from
it was
the right
the vision,
winger.
wasn't it?
Yeah. To be in that close proximity to so many players around the ruck, to then see the space and take it, it's a, it's real skill in terms of his vision, but we almost need a bit more patience there.
Well, that's gone forward.
It's gone way forward, but if he keeps the hold of the ball, if Huget keeps hold of the ball, he's going to get to the 5 metre line. There's probably another. Those two Clermont players will be drawn to that breakdown. The Toulouse support will be there. Medard, Dusan, Nyanga's not far behind.
Yes, I read an interesting point in the newspapers recently. It might have been made by Paul Ackford in one of his columns, I think. If I do or have got it wrong, I apologise, but he was saying we spend all our time these days focusing on which way the hands are going, which of course is pertinent, but on occasions you've maybe just got to pass a judgment. If it looks forward, then it is forward, and in my view, that does just look forward.
It looks horribly forward, doesn't it? I was actually having the same conversation yesterday, and I think I tend to agree with you, and if it was Paul Ackford, I agree with him as well, but it just simplifies the whole thing, doesn't it? We spend so long looking at hands and the direction of hands.
Well, they're looking at it time and time again.
Look where this bounces. That's gone forward.
The other thing the TMO has got to consider is the fact he was running on a diagonal as well. And that means, for it not to be forward, he's almost got to throw it backwards, hasn't he? It's going to be right over his right shoulder, and it certainly wasn't, so, well.
So if you or I were the TMO, we would give no try here. What are we saying this TMO is going to do?
Well, Vincent Azoulay is having a good look here. So we have the decision, and they're booing and jeering at the Stade Ernest Vallon. But if they had the benefit of our technology and they removed the eye patch, I suspect they would agree with us, and with Vincent Azoulay as well. And we come back for the advantage. The ball goes over. Great break, wasn't it, by Huget? You've got to say that.
His first two defenders either side of the ruck have got to be so tight, especially just Pierre's looking at the wrong attacker there. Because that first guard or a defender, all you worry about is who's around the ruck.
Well, there is the replacement coming on, and that is Paul Jadrasiak. Well, look at the scoreboard there. They've given the try. There was no indication from the referee. Well, that is stunning. I felt sure he was playing an advantage for a penalty. However, Vincent Azalea appears to have found in favour of the pass having gone backwards.
That's incredible.
There's Poitrenaud. Jan David bursting through. Coming across there to make the tackle was Damien Shuley. Poitrenaud. There's Poitrenaud again. Onto Médard. Terrific offload from Médard. That's Louis Picamol.
And how many carries has he made already today? If we look at the number of times each back row has touched the ball, Nianga and Picamol are right up there.
Montes, Dusatoir. Forward goes Albacete. Referee's got his arm out again. So it will be a Toulouse penalty.
Offside. Le dos est hors jeu sur le repli, tire le maillot. Le dos.
Well, there is the youngster, Paul Judrasiak, playing against one of his teammates from that Junior World Championship. Christopher Tollefeur was hooker for France under-20s during the summer in that tournament held in the Nantes region, right up in the northwest of the country.
Complète, monsieur Jean.
So Tollefeur, palm back, good work there from Jacquet. Brock James. Back scuttles Houget. And he fires it into touch. Well, going back to that try, it was a strange reaction from the crowd, wasn't it? They jeered the reaction of the referee. Perhaps they were just jeering because they felt it was bizarre that it should have been questioned in the first place.
Sarcastic jeer, was it? Seems very bizarre that that's been given. Out of all of the TMO options that we've seen, that seemed like the most obvious.
Yes, we've got a bit of feedback, and the word from the television match official, apparently, to Christophe Berdos was that the hands went backwards, but I think the fact that he was running at a diagonal meant that simply having... Oh, and there goes Foslu bursting through. That's why he's picked up so many tries so far this season. There's Shuley. The fact he was running at a diagonal meant he almost had to throw it over his back. Brock James. Great hands there from Boutin. Apprehended by Jan David. Referee playing the advantage here. Jan David has been penalised. There's Judrasiak. Judrasiak playing just his second game of top 14 rugby. Bit of a wait there for Vincent Debatty. Brock James. Here goes Foslu again. We're going to go all the way over for the initial offence against Jan David.
The initial break by Foslu. How many times have we seen him do that over the past few years, whether it be for Clermont or Brive? Him and Antoine Classen were really good at doing that for Brive.
That's right, quite a duo, those two. Herod Foslu first came to France to play for Castres, had a couple of seasons there, then a couple of seasons at Brive, where he met up there with Tony Klaassen. Klaassen was the captain for a long time. Since then they've gone their separate ways. Foslu finishing his career in some fashion at Clermont-Auvergne. Klaassen understood to be on his way for a big money move to the capital, Racing Metro, following the old coaches, the two Laurents.
When you move on the line,
I must say, I'm still shaking my head over that try. That was quite astonishing.
Clermont will feel very aggrieved, won't they, if that's the difference in the game.
Yes, the word from the television match official, the hands went back, therefore it's not a forward pass. Well, they've got 3 of them back. Rob James going well so far tonight. There he is, Vosloo. The man with the Viking look when he comes from the up on the reef in South Africa, Johannesburg, Pretoria. (38-19) it was at the Stade Marcel Michelin when these sides met in round 3. Try bonus point for Clermont Auvergne. So in terms of the head-to-head, they lead 5 league points to 0. Vosloo playing scrum half. Brock James just rolls it off the outside of the boot, torpedo style.
Défense, sa place, allez. Acculette, vigilante.
You shouldn't underestimate the job that the wingers have to do on restarts by making that tackle earlier on here. It's so key, rather than letting the receivers make yards, break tackles, get on the front foot. Oh.
Well, he was cut in half. What a hit that was. Johan Houget just looking there at the referee. That was almost man and ball stuff. Look at this. Dusan onto Houget. Oof. Benson Stanley saw him coming from a long way out.
He's not going to be thanking his fly half for that ball, is he? It's a great tackle from Benson Stanley.
So we're almost through the first quarter. There he is, Benson Stanley. 3 caps for New Zealand. He was actually born in Wollongong, New South Wales, Australia. All his caps in June 2010, 2 of them against Wales, the other against Ireland. Radoslavjevic caught by Dusatoir, the captain. For Mark. Here's Dusan. For Mark. Good hands from Nyanga, so too from Tolofua. Not too much space for Gear. Jose Gear showed his power and strength there, as does Nyanga. The offload to Albacete. Huge man, Albacete, 6'7". Quattrino knows he's drifting across field. Somebody will have to straighten it up at some point. Picamo. There is something about the big teams when they get into the new year. Second half of the season. And that time men just straight over off their feet.
Quattrino just penalised there for just using his shoulder and no arms in the clear out, but interesting. Vosloo's really hard at the breakdown, isn't he? He's great over the ball. It makes such a difference when you're making such a mess.
Yes, he's a bit like you. He's a man who goes and goes and keeps on going in professional rugby. He's now 34. Here's another view of that head. Look at the head.
It's made even better, isn't it, by the length of his hair. Looks good when you got long hair and it's flopped all over the place.
He's a big lad, isn't he? He's about 6'3" as Houget.
It's a fantastic hit from Stanley.
That is Ferreira, Skulk Ferreira. Went to the famous Paul Roos Gymnasium School in Stellenbosch. Census Johnson there, wrapped up against the cold. By to his left, our right. I think that was Martin van der Heever as well, the young hooker who came over from South Africa when Toulouse had those real injury problems right at the start of the season.
I think Novez will be pretty happy with the way that Toulouse has started this game. Bear in mind, the confidence they would have been lacking. Yes, they're rather fortunate with the try they've been given, but the intent's been there. I think the effort from Nyanga playing the ball out of the tackle and the carries that we've seen from Picamol.
Well, new standards have been set in away form this season by Grenoble. 3 away wins now they have. Compare that with Toulouse, who've got just 3 losing bonus points on the road. That's all they've picked up. And that's why Toulouse, despite their outstanding form at home, 37 points out of a possible 40, are still just in the share of 6th spot. It is an opportunity for Judrasiak to impress here, having come on so early in place of Julien Pierre. James, here's Nalanga. Brock James having to grab at that a couple of times. Here comes Benson Stanley. Well held up by Doucet. There goes Vincent Debatty. Debatty is the super sub of French rugby. He's been a victim of his own versatility in many respects. Plays comfortably on either side of the front row. So Huget comes across. I haven't seen too much of this over the years. Johan Huget doing the kicking. Well, that was very acrobatic from Malzieu. Well, the crowd over on the far side think that went forward. I guess with some irony, Julien Malzieu would probably say my hands were pointing backwards.
Massive kick from Huget, but just got rather greedy with it. Really needs to make touch there. Effectively cost his side 50 yards.
Here's a try again. Now, what do you make of it? He's running diagonally. That is one of the problems. That is why I think simply saying the hands went backwards is inadequate.
You just can't tell me that's gone backwards. I refuse to accept that.
How far has that gone forward? 3, 4, 5 metres? Amazing. Anyway, that's a talking point.
Ball goes down.
Brock James. Oh, and Medard spilled it. Well, if Philippe Saint-André is watching, and he fell out of favour with Saint-André towards the end of the November internationals, that'll be a black mark against Maxime Medard.
From the games that we've seen so far this season with Toulouse, it's the little mistakes like this that have really added up. The mistakes that we don't necessarily associate with the great players that they have. Just seem to be a bit under pressure, don't they? Which is just not something we normally see.
Flexion.
So Maxime Medard wearing 15 tonight, but you do wonder if he is perhaps the least confident of the 3 possible fullbacks under the high ball. Fofana there feeding Stanley. Up to the 22. Forward goes Jacquet. Big hit on Jacquet. Boutin. A little stab through from Boutin. Perhaps not the best option. The mark was hanging back. That was a long way for Doucet. Almost picked that up on the half volley. Did rather well.
He did, because Vermaat was at the bottom of that pile of bodies. And he's had Picamol pass him a ball, which you would rather not receive when you're that close to Or when you're in your own dead ball area. He's done well.
In that position, you want it hard and fast and torpedo style, don't you?
Or you'd rather the 9 kicks the ball. Get some blockers in place, and you know, rather than putting pressure on 10, get rid of the ball from 9.
There goes Debati. It was superbly taken by Bonaire at the tail. Radoslavjevic. Oh, well, that was seen coming. You could hear that collision, couldn't you? The Toulouse defence being tested here. There goes Debati. Radoslavjevic goes wide this time. Through goes Fofana. Can Fofana get there? Not quite, not this time. They wanted it swiftly. It's well defended by Toulouse. Oh, there are bodies all over the place, aren't there?
Turned it over.
And it's the penalty against Clermont Auvergne.
And that's exactly why Toulouse are the best defensive team in the league. Up against players like Stanley and Fofana, you have to be so on your toes defensively. And even when they've made a half break, they've managed to scramble back and turn that ball over, and that's really what stands them out as the defensive team they are.
Look at this. This was almost reminiscent of Leinster, that Heineken Cup semi-final in Bordeaux. Remember that, right at the death? Poitrenaud making the tackle. Not quite there. Look at Dusatois, straight in.
And that's what I meant when I was talking about the back rows at the start of the game. It's exactly what you want from your back row in that sort of area of the field.
Almost in military style and fashion there, Toulouse come to the line in perfect step. Forward goes Pereira. That's Montes, just spinning through the tackle. The bilingual qualities of Christophe Berdos being exercised there to instruct Yana Vermaak.
I can't imagine his French is up to speed too much for Mark at the moment.
Well, he hasn't been there that long, has he? He dropped in a couple of times before he really started his career at Toulouse. Came to France principally because his Springbok career, but he didn't really see himself being in line for a regular starting place.
Difficult position to be lacking in the French lingo.
Presumably, though, when you go overseas, and you'll have experience of this. French courses compulsory?
Yeah, at Toulon we had French lessons put on for us.
But how often? How many? How long?
We probably had 2 a week. The English players have a bigger advantage because a lot of them have done it at school, whereas the guys from the Southern Hemisphere haven't had that in their education. So I think it comes a lot harder to them.
And the vocabulary, was it the sort of the cat sat on the mat, or was it roll away tackler?
No, I think the best way to learn is the way Philippe Saint-André did it at Toulon. You learn from your video sessions. You chucked in at the deep end and you pick up your French that way.
Pereira takes play up to halfway. Good hands again from Dusan. Jose Guilla injecting a little bit of pace. Not 10 metres. Brock James penalised. So 7 points to 6, 9 minutes to half time. It's one of the great head-to-heads in European rugby. The aerial route didn't really have enough depth on it. Palm back. Here's Malzieu. You see Malzieu back and playing again with some regularity. First time in about 3 seasons, really. He's had Achilles problems. But he's been in scoring form. and that's why he's had his contract extended. Rouget looking good under the high ball there, under pressure from Boutin. Crowd thought he was taken out in the air. Well, Dusan was certainly taken high there. Penalty advantage being played. Miloslawski onto Picamol. Picamol through the first tackle. There's the offload. Onto Tolofua. Referee still playing the advantage here. Quattrino feeding Rouget. Rouget offloads to Dusan. Up to the 22. The arm's still out. Jan David. Advantage over, says the referee. And that's the point when it starts to come apart. Here's Dusan. Something hurt, you can hear the groan. Rouget getting himself in the way.
I think any time Vosloo goes near anyone, someone's getting hurt.
Yeah, well, that was the groan. It came from Dusan. And I think he may well have taken a blow across the head, but the referee coming across to consult his assistant. Well, not much Rouget could do about that. Found himself in the wrong spot.
Tu as le 15 jaune qui va à l'épaule. Oui. Tu laisses l'avantage, le jeu se poursuit. Ici, tu as un plaquage jaune. Jaune, ouais. C'est une nervosité, c'est un geste réflexe.
Geste réflexe, d'accord. Donc je préviens pour les deux actes de jeu déloyal, je reste sur la pénalité ici. Voilà, c'était le 5 là-bas et le... Ok.
Well, I think they're going back here. They mentioned Boutin, didn't they?
Possibly stay with the same penalty, but they're just going to speak to the...
Là, un plaquage en l'air et un plaquage au haut. Donc redevenez, vous êtes discipliné, redevenez la discipline.
Speak to Shuley about the height of his tackles. It's a great take, that, isn't it? Looked like he had his eyes closed as well, which is even better.
Well, they are going back, aren't they, for the challenge of Boutin. Probably fair enough. I think it was a ball there to be competed for, but no evidence, as you were saying, that really Boutin was going for the ball at all. It's been an evening of interesting calls from the referees and the officials. Certainly the most controversial of all, the try.
Which would actually make it 6-0 to Clermont.
So here goes Dusan. Turns away immediately, and that means only one thing. It's out of the middle, and it's 3 points.
Amazing to play off the back of players like Picamol with their offloading game. And you can see that that's where Toulouse have broken down over the past few weeks. Their offloading game hasn't quite been in place. And yes, there's a few balls going to the floor here, but a lot of their offloads are being made on the front foot, which means that it's a lot easier to play off.
So Brock James, an almost cathedral silence. 6 minutes to go to half-time. There goes the battering ram, Picamol. There have been some concerns about his physical fitness, and I'm not talking about injuries, but his basic conditioning. He will want to impress on nights like tonight because he's not in favour with Philippe Saint-André. Didn't take much of a part in the autumn internationals.
I think he's got fantastic natural strength. He does look like someone who could lose his fitness over the season if he loses concentration.
Here's Vincent Debati. Penalty advantage being played. The ball's gone backwards. Here's Fofana again at speed. Gotta be careful how they put him down in those situations. They were. James, Boutin. No, we are going to come back for the penalty. It was Christopher Tolofua. There he is, Christopher Tolofua.
Le 2 qui se met dessus.
Tolopua turned 20
Pour écrouler.
on New Year's Eve. Got so much experience. Keaton Best not entirely happy with everything.
So difficult to stop a rolling wall like that when it gets
Merci
going.
Lou, voilà même.
But you certainly can't do that. Probably what Noves is slightly irritated with. Just need to make more of an effort to stop it with your own physique first.
So Clermont Auvergne at the start of a remarkable January. For both of these sides will play such a part in determining their success, their position at the end of the season. James always left it out to the right. It's trying to come back. It's trying to come back. And it does, but only just. Well, look at this. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's only just got the distance. Look at the bar. Oh, it just got over.
Didn't take his eyes off that, did he? Willing it over the bar.
Certainly met the approval of Vern Cotter. There goes Nalanga, off to Shuley. The last 3 minutes of the first half. Just 1 point separates the two teams. Palm forward there by Malzieu. So a scrum advantage here. There's Gear. Oh, Gear through. This time he's got the vision, he's got the pace as well. This is brilliant from Gear. Well, it was Nalanga who took him down. Penalty advantage being played. Dusan, should he have given it? His route, I think, was a little blocked. That's why he took it in. Well, we've seen two wonderful breaks from nothing by both Toulouse wings. The first one by Houget led to the try. Oh, and here goes Poitrenaud! There's the ball. What a way it would be to finish the first half. Dussatoir just helping feed the ball back. Well, it's just a pile of bodies at the moment, but the ball is on the Toulouse side. Montez picks it up. Onto Albacete. Nyanga, eyes up, just looking, seeing where the points of weakness are. Still an advantage being played. Getting closer and closer and closer, Nyanga. Effectively, there's 3 points coming, we know that. Now from Vermaak, change of direction. Can they use the width? Medard tries to go himself. Still playing that advantage. Vermaak, inside border, Houget. Pereira is caught. The referee will go back for the penalty. And with the last minute, surely they will take the 3 points.
Fantastic break from Jose Guilla again. Clermont probably have a look at that at half-time. Make sure that they're getting their first defenders in around the breakdown earlier. It's two huge breaks, one that led to a try and one here that's nearly led to a try. Looks like it's going to lead to 3 points, but some good pace by Jose Guilla as well. I didn't think he was going to get through that gap of two closing defenders, but he did really well.
Well, you can see there Napoleone Nalanga was just confirming it was him who made the crucial intervention on Jose Guilla. But it was what he did immediately afterwards which conceded the penalty.
Just wants him to speak to to his players about their discipline. They gave 2 or 3 penalties away in quick succession there. So close to their line, it's a pretty dangerous thing to be doing in terms of losing a player. Sometimes it's quite an effective thing to be doing.
Well, we can construe it as the final warning. And as you would expect, at this stage of the match, with a lead of just a single point, Dusan will take the 3 points on offer. Yes, wearing 10 tonight. He did make his debut in the top 14 a few seasons ago. I can remember it was an away match against Castres, which Castres took down to Béziers. And Dusan was wearing 10 that night. Adds the 3 points. Last few seconds of the half. This was special though, wasn't it?
Voslu's been caught out there where it's Julien Pierre in the first instance. It's good pace there from Jose Gear and a cracking tackle from Lalanga to stop the attack.
So we don't have time for the restart. Toulouse have the lead, 13 points to 9. One of the real classic matches in European rugby. They're on the pitch, they're ready to go. It's Martin Gillingham alongside me, Tom May, all to play for.
Fantastically poised this game, and we wouldn't expect anything less, really, would we, between these two teams? Really enjoy watching Clermont play with their open, expansive way of playing, vastly contradicted by the directness of Toulouse.
So Dusan appears to be enjoying his time back at 10. It's the position he played at when he was captain of the France under-20 side. A France under-20 side, by the way, which included Jean-Marcelin Boutin. The success that France have had in progressing their junior internationals to the top flight, in many respects better than perhaps in England. Although, of course, England are the junior world champions at the moment. Quite a victory that was for them. The ball's gone forward. So it will be a put-in Clermont ball. What would a win do for Clermont tonight? Well, they're on 49 points. They've got 2 points ahead at the moment of Stade Francais, winners at Biarritz yesterday. Toulouse down in a share of 6th spot. Now, Toulouse, I think it would be fair to say, need the win more than Clermont do.
In terms of their confidence and the fact they're at home, I think it would really be a devastating loss before their 2 Heineken Cup games coming up to lose this fixture. But 13-9 up, they'll be happy with that, with the forward pass as a try as well.
Well, that was all a bit of a mess, and it's gone the way of Toulouse. Here's Jan David. Great step from David, getting around James. They've got to knock him down. There's Dusan, a little pop over the top. Oh dear. Well, it certainly wasn't the best execution, and I'm not sure it was the best decision making as well from Jean-Marc Dusan. Well, and Boutin in some discomfort.
Great break from Jan David. Actually very quick for a big guy with a low centre of gravity. I just think there he's that close to the line. Just keep hold of the ball. But perhaps let off the hook. Clermont rushed their exit play and have only managed to get 10-15 metres out from their own line.
Well, this is a worrying side with a view to next week and that Heineken Cup game. Boutin, who appears to have, is that a hamstring problem? It's normally a hamstring when you have it wrapped up like that, isn't it? Remember Lee Byrne, he's unavailable.
It's probably more likely to be a bit of a dead leg.
So, a lack of precision this time from Toulouse. 2 minutes gone in the second half. 13 points to 9. Toulouse lead. Yes, Clermont will be hoping it's a dead leg with Boutin. More chance of getting over that, I would have thought, in a week than a real hamstring problem. Shuley fumbling it under pressure there from Dussatoir. Great from the Toulouse captain. Here goes Dusan in some space. Got through the first tackle, James. James, the second tackle he's missed in the minute or so. Forward goes Ferreira. Nianga this time. Yana Vermaak. Vermaak it was who got the try, which helped beat Toulon on this ground. They have had one or two close shaves, the Rouge et Noir, in recent weeks here. Dusan getting under that tackle again. Albacete's over it, the pick up there from the Puma. Vermaak again. Here's Poitrenaud. Jan David. Look at the commitment there of Vincent Debatty. He missed the tackle, but it was 10-10 stuff. Tolofua presents the ball for Vermaak. Here goes Picamoh. Vermaak again back. The attempt to the drop from Dusan. The little chip with the left foot is successful. 3 more points.
They'll be happy with that, to come away from there with another 3 points, but they do seem to be lacking a bit of structure in terms of their attack. They're toing and throwing from left to right, and there doesn't really seem to be any shape to the way they're trying to play. Whereas if you look at the way that Clermont attack, their forward runners coming through, backs and back three hanging out the back of those forwards, just to really try and open up the space.
So Toulouse focusing on just edging ahead that little bit more. Kotze and Lacrompe waiting to come on. So David Zerkashvili's stint is almost done. So to Ludovic Radoslavljevic. There's Picamoh. Montez with the mouth guard hanging out of the corner of his mouth. James. Here's Fofana. Toulouse defence know that they can't afford to take the rise off Wesley Fofana. Penalty advantage being played. A little chip there from Brock James. Plucked out of the sky by Albacete. Will come back for the penalty. Well, what, 45, 46 metres, something like that, if you take into account the angle.
The conditions don't seem to be that bad underfoot, do they? And that's what makes the difference in, you know, when it is damp underfoot, that standing leg is really, really vitally important for the kicker.
Well, here come the changes. As predicted, Radoslavljevic and Zerkashvili go off. Lacrompe and Kotze come on. These are two men who I'm pretty certain will start next weekend against Quins. If any Quins followers are watching this.
How long's Morgan Parra got left?
Well, he's got a bad way, wasn't he, with that injury? I think he's going to be out, certainly I think through the early weeks of the Six Nations. So, there we go. The kick from Brock James, and this time it does fall short. Safe to assume he didn't get hold of all of that. Really is a chance missed, though, at this level, on this stage. Good news to report about Vincent Clerc, by the way. Played for 40 minutes for the Toulouse Espoirs on Friday night. He's targeting a return against Zebra in round 6 of the Heineken Cup. Required surgery after a knee ligament rupture in the game against Clermont, of all clubs, back in April. There goes James, sees the gap. Wonderful stuff from the fly half, and again sweeps it out wide to Malzieu. And look at the way the defence has gathered itself there for Toulouse. They were back in numbers. Great break though from the fly half.
This could be a turnover as well if they manage to hold this up.
Oh, messieurs, c'est un haut, c'est un molle, c'est rouge.
Spot on.
Regardez en hauteur.
Good work in defence in every department there from Toulouse.
I think that's what they do so well, but you know, their first up defence isn't any different to anyone else's, but their desire to get back and their scramble defence is fantastic. A great dummy that. Feint to kick and then step on the inside.
So the change at hooker. Benjamin Kaiser comes on. He's a man who's played in 3 Heineken Cup finals for 3 different clubs: Stade Francais, Leicester and Clermont Auvergne. He'll be at the coalface next weekend. No Thomas Domingo involved this evening. He will be getting a rest now.
En même temps des deux côtés, messieurs, on va se décaler. Non? Peut-être par là, venez par là.
Yes, in terms of Clermont's recruitment ahead of next season, well, they've got Jonathan Davis. He's coming from the Scarlets. What is effectively a swap with Regan King, who's on his way back to Clermont. Sebastian Barmahina, a huge lock of Perpignan, the France international. He is coming. And according to the local newspapers, La Montagne is the local newspaper in Volcano country. They're saying that Zach Gelford is on the way, so it'll be an all-black for an all-black with Sitiveni Sivivatu on his way to Castra. There is Mr. Kotzer.
Ouais, d'accord, je veux dire.
Great story about Daniel Kotzer. A couple of years ago, Heineken Cup match at home to Leicester Tigers. He was doing the whining and dining on behalf of Clermont Auvergne. And it was Lionel Faure, I think, who picked up a late injury. There had to be a reshuffle in the front row. Benson Dabati switched from one side to the other. Kotzer was dragged out of he was suited and booted, provided with kit, and was on the pitch about half an hour later.
He didn't start the game, did he?
He didn't, no. But he was...
he got on.
He got on, and he wasn't in the 23. He was suited and booted 3 years ago now. A match which Clermont won. There's Albacete. Tolofu has got it. Yes, Christopher Tolofu has crammed a lot in a very short time, having just turned 20. Already a full France international. Poor pass there from Nyanga. The fly hack from Benair. Here's Dusan, a little chip ahead. Crowd think he was blocked. Oh, this will be an interesting watch. Well, it's Daniel Kotzer who's been penalised.
He didn't really step across, did he? He just didn't move.
No, I suppose you've got to ask. Under those circumstances, he's not obliged to get out of the way, is he? He's just required not to move in front of Dusan. There's no doubt in those occasions, as players, you know what you're doing, don't you? But that was a case, really, where the only way Kotzer could have stopped a collision was by getting out of the way, which he's not required to do. So, Tolofua finds Miloslavski. There's Picamol. Dusatoir. Nyanga. For Mark. Dusan. Jan David. Cuts across field. Well, the referee's blown his whistle long before Jose Guia goes in. It's obstruction. Well, he blew his whistle a long time ago. A long time ago. Requesting the video for a moment. Don't quite understand this.
Il y a 5 joueurs rouges qui restent devant pour aller à l'extérieur.
5 players, he's saying.
On revient ici, c'est jaune. 5 joueurs pour défendre. 5 joueurs en défense. Il y a une incidence par rapport à la montée.
What do you make of that?
C'est du jeu dans la défense.
I understand what he's saying in terms of
pour faire une barrière
5 players
pour que les gens ne
blocking.
puissent pas défendre sur les extérieurs.
I'm not sure Clermont's going to get in there, is he?
Oui, mais vos joueurs sont dans la défense, vous le travaillez.
3 of them aren't doing it. 3 of them aren't in the way at all.
I think Ferreira was blocking, wasn't he? But I think your point's right. Was the defender ever going to get to him? I suppose that in itself is immaterial.
Ah, ça va recommencer, je vous l'ai
It's
dit.
a hands forward moment, hands backward.
Venez me voir. Arrêt de jeu.
Just needs
Les
to
deux,
be
je
a
vous l'ai
bit
dit dans le
more
vestiaire. Je vais pas m'embêter, vous allez vous reposer, ça
empathy
continue.
with the players sometimes,
Bon,
I
restez
think.
debout. On va se décaler. Allez, Belge.
Well, it's still a 7-point match. Well, this weekend's top 14 has certainly thrown up 1 or 2 talking points. Johnny Wilkinson yesterday, who had a tremendous game up until the point he threw the pass, which in the end was the difference between Toulon winning and losing. And now it's a penalty, and tempers have been getting frayed. A number of players who in just a few weeks' time will be in the same squad wearing blue. No love lost here in this massive clash. Bonner and Doucetois, they know one another so well.
Just got that feeling this could boil over in the next 10-15 minutes. So much riding on tonight in terms of Toulouse getting back that momentum, and Clermont finishing on a high going into the Heineken Cup.
Certainly in the first half of the season, every now and again you get a bit of shadow boxing between top sides because they know what a long season it is. But once Christmas has been and gone, and you're into the new year and you're in the second half of the league phase, every point matters. Certainly Clermont are in the... Oh, it's wonderful work from Nyanga. Well, it's been turned again. Clermont have it. Toulouse being told to release. Here goes Brock James. Out to Malzier. Malzier offloads to Foslu. On there to Judrasiak, who's had a good run tonight. Came on early for Julien Pierre. Kotzer, the former Free Stater from Bloemfontein, but now a full France international. The stab over the top from Brock James, meant for Fafana. Good work from Yann David. Here's Doucetois. The mark is appealing for it. Eventually has the ball. Maxime Médard. Good kick from Médard.
Great kick.
Looked a bit wobbly under the high ball, but there are so many aspects of the game which he does so well.
And they needed exactly that just then. Under pressure with the going backwards from this little chip. That's exactly what the Toulouse forwards want to see from there, isn't it? They've gone back and then Médard just steps up and smashes it into the corner. Don't know how many times I've been told by forwards watching back to kick the ball into the corner is something that just makes them smile.
Well, Damien Chouli got the ice on the shoulder. Arthur Roulin, certainly one of the lesser-known figures with Clermont-Auvergne. He's in the Clermont Academy, started his rugby career at Perpignan. Penalty against Clermont.
He's a real menace at the breakdown, isn't he, Miller Schluskin? Causes so much damage. Just means that scrum half can't get the ball away cleanly. He's always trying to kick through, put pressure on the attacking side. He's got his reward there.
So 56 minutes gone. And Jean-Marc Toussaint has a chance to stretch the advantage to 10 points. Yes, just to mention Vincent Clair again, 40 minutes against the Espoirs on Friday. Been a long rehab, 8 months. It's been a brief period in Florida. Has also been doing a lot of rehab work with French athletes. And Toussaint right out of the screws. Jean-Baptiste LSL, the slightly delayed reaction. Well, on comes Mr. Steenkamp. Brock James with the restart. Oh, and there Toussaint was caught high. The advantage being played here by the referee. I think that was a new man, Roland, who was guilty of that. Yes, we come back for the penalty.
Good pressure on the restart from Clermont, but 2 yards offside from the restart. Left their mark on Toussaint tonight, haven't they?
Yes, I reckon Toussaint's enjoying his time at fly half this evening. Played so much of his recent rugby at 9. Certainly as a youngster, and as I've mentioned before, his debut for Toulouse at this level was made as a fly half.
Monsieur,
58 minutes gone at the Stade Ernest Vallon. 19 points to 9. Toulouse lead. The big guns are now on for Toulouse as well. Maestri. That tackle looked a little high from Judrasiak. Nyanga in there to Maestri. Forward goes Nyanga. Chili boy Radapelle you can also see on wearing 16. Poitrenaud missing out gear onto David. Yes, Toulouse getting some real rhythm now. Bit of the confidence which might have ebbed away in recent times. Thierry Lecrombe there. Referee not penalising him. Houget onto Médard. For Marc. Here's Dusatoir again, drifting across field. There goes Montez onto Radapelle. Radapelle himself, a South Africa captain. It's interesting, actually. Radapelle went to the same school as another recent South Africa captain and hooker, John Smith, Pretoria Boys High School. There's Dusatoir. Picamole looks up. Well, Toulouse are in control of this, or appear to be in control of it. So there you can see a bit of accidental offside. Now you can see the two presidents side by side. Eric de Cromière, 3 from the right from Clermont Auvergne. And René Bouscatel, who not entirely happy with everything that's going on in French rugby at the moment. Let's take a look ahead to what's coming up here on BT Sport. Rugby tonight happens on Wednesday. Plenty of talking points. Terrific game earlier today up at Welford Road between Bath and Leicester. That will no doubt feature, as will 1 or 2 talking points from this top 14 season. And here's a bit of a special match. Saracens, who have strong links with South Africa, taking on the Natal Sharks on the 25th of January, 3 o'clock, BT Sports 1. Yeah, so many places to watch sport, watch rugby on BT Sport. Watch the main channels, of course. We're on ESPN tonight, but also you can watch us on btsport.com and the BT Sport app. You can't get away from us. We've reached the 3/4 way point. 19 points to 9 as things stand. Clermont will go home with nothing. There's Bennett. That was onto Lecramp. Fofana. Benson Stanley. David, another tackle to add to his count. Driven forward that time by Raphael Chaume, another of the youngsters who's come out of the Clermont Academy. Not only at the top end that Clermont do so well, their espoirs very successful in the national championship. Men like Chaume have come from that background. Pass there from Doussaint. It's a little bit forward on a night when forward passes certainly will feature in the post-match analysis. Scrum half on scrum half, turn there. Christophe Berdos rather getting in the way.
Game's breaking down somewhat, isn't it? So many mistakes. Doesn't seem to have the fluidity in the first half.
So another change is being made for Clermont. Noah Naikatathi is on. And Naikatathi comes from that Clermont Academy that was set up in Fiji, the Nandronga Club. Huge investment being made by Clermont in that part of the world. The fruits, of course, are the real talents. Here's Gaël Fickou. Well, Toulouse didn't have to go as far as Fiji to find this fella. He rather was under the radar at Toulon, wasn't he? How did he get away from Toulon, or how was he allowed to get away from Toulon?
I guess players like Sonny Bill Williams were blocking his path at the time. Good player, though.
You think now with all those regulations about players who are brought through the French system.
Gif.
Yeah, exactly. J-I-double-F. Brock James. Here goes Nalanga.
Great.
Clermont still have it. Still plenty of time to turn this match around. Fofana. He can turn matches around in the blink of an eye. Kaiser, held up by Guthrie Steenkamp. Brock James. James looks for the offload, gets it away. It's gone in the hands of Naikatathi. He's got speed, believe me. The offload to Foslu. Clermont looking dangerous again. Lecramp. Brock James. And Clermont, in their desperation, off their feet. And once again, it was really created by the numbers there at the breakdown. Toulouse in defence, so impressive.
Countless turnovers from Nianga and Dussatois tonight. Nianga's been outstanding and at the heart of everything. But Dussatois, two vital turnovers. Not sure if it wasn't him that turned the ball over on their own line in the first half.
Look at this break though from Naikatathi.
Nearly got away, didn't he?
Yes, he made his France debut in the midweek match on the tour of New Zealand at the North Harbour Stadium against the Blues. Has yet to earn his first France cap, but he now has his allegiance there. And that is Arthur Roulin. Look at Dusatois. Well, if this was some sort of rehearsal or probables versus possibles trial match for the France Six Nations, you have to say that the likes of the captain, Thierry Dusatois, Yannick Nyanga, they've gained a few positive marks tonight. Mike Delaney, the fly half, on for Brock James. Mike Delaney, I think, is now Vern Cotter's first pick at 10. Yakuba Camara, he was also in that France under-20 squad during the summer, so coming through at the top level. Likes of Yakuba Camara, Christopher Tolofua, Paul Judrasiak off the bench for Clermont, was the captain of that team. There's big Joe Takori, top 14 winner last year with Castres.
Expect to see the same work from him as we've seen from Picamont and Nyanga so far. Got through so much work, those two.
Well, the crowd calling for a knock-on, but that was very optimistic. Here's Malzieu getting picked up and driven back by Doucet. Does so much, doesn't he? He's only a little fella, is Jean-Marc Doucet. Very effective in the tackle. Kaiser there, out to Judrasiak, here he is. The offload back to Fofana. Lacrampe. Delaney, out there to Boutin. Naikatathi. Well, it will be this time a Clermont put in. Did he get a hand on that?
I don't think so. There's good skill, I think, from Malzieu.
Just to confirm those fixtures that are coming for both these sides through January. Toulouse next week, Saracens at home, Heineken Cup. That is a pool decider. Massive clash. They're then away to Zebre in the final pool game in the Heineken Cup, and then it's back to the domestic stuff. Racing Metro away. What a January for them. Not dissimilar for Clermont. Harlequins away next week. Then it's Racing at home. That is in the Heineken Cup. Those two sides meeting for the third time this season before they travel down to Bayonne. And as Toulouse found out last weekend, wasn't it? Bayonne, not an easy place to get a result. Yes, the depth of quality in this top 14 is something which no other league in world rugby comes close to at the moment. You can pretty much write off Biarritz. You would be disappointed if you don't get a result at Biarritz these days. But as for every other club, and as we're seeing from teams like Oyonnax having beaten the likes of Toulon, Clermont, Castres, they beat Racing Metro yesterday. They're supposed to be in a relegation fight. Brive beat Toulouse, they beat Montpellier yesterday. They too supposed to be in a relegation fight. It's tough.
It is tough, and even though Biarritz are set adrift at the bottom of the league, they've got so much to play for. The desperation within that club, within the Basque region, to be honest, with Bayonne in a similar predicament, that it's very tough to write them off at home still, even though you fancy most teams going down there and getting a win.
Oh, Mike Delaney. That again may prove costly in the immediate short term. It would have taken them to within 7 points. That's a bad miss. 13 minutes to go. Toulouse with a little bit of a cushion. But it has been a kick here or there. And one pass. which ultimately has been the difference between the sides. Jadresiak takes it.
There.
There is Fofana. Delaney again. On that time to the youngster Roland. Well gathered by Delaney. Fofana. Bit of speed. Look, through goes Fofana. Huget just grabbed hold of his shirt and made a bit of a difference. There's Nalanga.
No hands.
Boy Ranabelle just getting a playful pat. There goes Vosloo. Oh, have they turned it here? Great work by Takori. They do have it. For Mark. Maxime Medard. Well, he did well there. Medard is a little one-footed. And he got himself in a position where, had he been more competent on the right, it certainly would have been the easiest foot with which to kick it. But did skillfully there off the outside of the left foot.
Great break from Fofana. Just runs good lines, doesn't he? Most subtle of drifts, or inside or out, and it's enough to beat a defender at the pace he's moving at.
Look at big Joe Takori there over the ball. It's Thierry Lacrampe. Oh dear. Loses it forward.
Non maîtrisé, donc pas l'avantage. Les noirs.
There's Thierry Lacrampe taking a bit of a knock. It's a bit of a knock, that's all it is at the moment. Gets a bit of a playful pat from Yoann Huget.
It's certainly an area that teams that are going to be facing up against Toulouse will have to focus on the back of this performance. Their work at the breakdown defensively has been outstanding. So many turnovers, and for Joe Takori, I mean, he's huge. For Joe Takori to get down like that and turn that ball over is outstanding.
Well, we're just looking back at that obstruction. Now, whether or not we think the call was right, you may have your views about that, but in fairness to Christophe Berdos, he blew the whistle very early indeed. Toulouse can't claim, really, that they were denied a try.
Not much complaint from the Clermont players, though, or appealing. You'd normally expect that.
Steenkamp up against Kotzer on this side. There is Takori. Came off the bench in last season's final against Toulon for Castres. Missed much of the second half of the season last year, did Takori. Doucet, bit of a slice. Well, at least once that was fumbled forward. Yes, Nicothathy in the end. May well have been knocked forward before that, but it certainly was by Nicothathy.
Go! Go, go!
Well, at least one knock on there, wasn't there?
Allez, Gogo, allez! Allez, Chili! Non, non, non.
Toulouse have got quite a record to protect in the top 14. They've reached the semi-finals for each of the last 20 seasons. It is so competitive, though, for the top 6 spots at the moment. They are in a share of 6th place alongside Montpellier. That is why Toulouse really need a result this evening. So far, so good. Doucet, straight downfield. Here's Boutin, with that left leg strapped up. Seems to be running reasonably freely now. Onto Nalanga. Well inside the last 10 minutes, Delaney. Delaney who earned 1 cap for the All Blacks against Italy at the San Siro. Not a bad ground to earn your only test cap. More famous, of course, as a football venue. There goes Boutin, the huge hoof downfield. Flipped up by Gear, back to Dusan. Well, he's picked out Nalanga here, who can build up a head of steam. Well, was Dusan at the heart of that again? And then it spilt forward. Well, wasn't a great kick, but once again, Jean-Marc Dusan, who was towered over by Nalanga. With a little bit of help, but he knocked him backwards, didn't he? Look at this.
He's a stocky fella, mind. He might be about 5 foot tall, but he's about 5 foot wide as well. But it's a good tackle on Nalanga because he's a very powerful guy. His technique's there good, isn't it? He's got low. He's followed through with the tackle and driven Nalanga backwards.
Well, when you've got a 9 or 10, because that's what he is, and Daniel Kotzer here going off, and this is certainly worrying for Clermont Auvergne with such a month ahead of them. And he really does look in pain. Though he wants to go off under his own steam. Could that be another injury concern ahead of a very busy January? So Zerkashvili comes back on. Clermont have been in fine form, top of the table, 2-point lead going into tonight, ahead of Stade Francais, who won yesterday at Biarritz. Clermont aiming for what would be a 7th straight win, 5 of those in the top 14. They won home and away against Scarlets in the Heineken Cup as well.
Important kick for Delaney now. Take Clermont within 7 points.
Yes, it's at the moment, to them, it's worth a single league point, isn't it? Get back within the losing bonus point. Just get in that range. They can then attempt to try and get another point with a draw. Well, Delaney's made no mistake this time. That's a much better connection.
You'd think they'd be happy with that, wouldn't you, with their lead at the top of the top 14. Leaving Toulouse with a point, moving into the 2-week break for the Heineken Cup. They'll be fairly content with that as a result.
Yes, a few Clermont fans in the ground. It's about a 3 or 4 hour drive down from volcano country. Can be quite treacherous at this time of year. Clermont very high up, a lot of snow around, certainly in January. So here is Dusan. There's the catch from Jacquet. 5.5 minutes remain. Bonner's got it now. Forward goes Foslu. Foslu and his family now French citizens. Went through the ceremony a few months ago in Clermont. Here's Houja. Well gathered by Delaney. Medard. Well, Clermont will hope that this runs and runs and runs, which it doesn't.
Yeah, that could have been dangerous had that gone off the back of the field. Clermont on the attack and Toulouse's third of the pitch.
Thierry, I beg your pardon, Tom. Thierry Lecrombe is still hobbling a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not a bad result to have a 22. Be quite happy with that. Receive the ball back, straight to Takori.
Here comes Takori, straight to Delaney. For Mark. It's the final sprint for the line where Toulouse are concerned. Intelligent kick. Well, the tackle was a bit high, wasn't it?
And for someone Delaney's size against Takori, he's done well to tackle him high.
Yes, there's quite a difference. Well, Chili Boy Relapelli coming across. Here he is. South Africa international, one of his Springbok colleagues there, Guthro Steenkamp. Goes to the tail, misses, just finds Benjamin Kaiser. Boslu. Naikatathi. Got great handling skills, Naikatathi. Holds the ball in one hand in much the same style as Sivivatu does. There's Judrasiak. Lacrampe. Good kick there from the scrum half.
We've seen some great tactical kicking in this game, actually, from Medard. Dusan's put some good kicks in. Does she come off? Lacrampe there, isn't it?
It did just glance off him, didn't it? So, important throw here for Chili Boy Relapelli. Who's throwing isn't without its chinks of vulnerability. Anyone who watched the game at Brive when Relapelli overthrew and Guillaume Rive was presented with a gift in the second minute to score a try. Go short this time. That's the pragmatic choice. There's Jonathan Mark. The last 2 minutes at the Ernest Vallon. Something for everyone as things stand. 4 points for Toulouse, 1 point for Clermont. Well, turned over illegally so. So a chance to fire it down the touchline here. Patricio Albacete, and a great servant for Toulouse, hasn't he? I think the greater concern for Clermont-Auvergne as Sébastien Bazy comes off the bench. I saw Bazy's brother in action yesterday for Grenoble, coming off the bench there. Nicolas Bazy. And unquestionably the result of the weekend. Change there at scrum half.
Steady stream of youngsters, isn't there, always at Toulouse. Academy system seems to produce some great players.
So Kaiser finds there Jacquet. Is there going to be a final twist here? A chance here, perhaps for Clermont to get the additional point and to deny Toulouse 2. There's Foslu. Inside the Toulouse 22. Kaiser. Toulouse really have given little away at home this season, although they have looked vulnerable. Certainly did in their last home game in the top 14 against Bordeaux-Bègles. That's Benet. Lost, and according to the referee it went forward. And that should be just about it. Guinoves. They will have the final scrum. Let's go for it, says the referee. Well, it will be the job of Sébastien Bazy. As Johan Montes. And he is replaced by Dorian Aldacheri. Another of those Toulouse youngsters. On he comes, just 20. So the roll here of Sebastian Basie with the help of the forwards. Straight in, straight out and into touch. There it is for Basie, and Basie fires it into touch, and there it is. Job done for Guy Noves, who could sit back, relax, enjoy the 4 points, hard fought. Well, let's take a look back now on the 80 minutes here. 1 or 2 controversial points. Vern Cotter and Guy Noves know one another so well. An evening when there was something for everyone, but this was the controversy. Terrific vision there from Johan Huget. But Tom, more and more you see of that. Well, Toulouse a little fortunate.
We can go on, can't we, about the forward pass all the time, but let's talk about the vision from Huget.
Yes, it was a great break. But so significant was the fact he was running across field. So even if the hands were pointing backwards, the ball just went so far forward. Brock James kept Clermont Auvergne in it in that first half. And then, well, we saw the break from Huget, and this was superb from Gear. Well, great tackle from Nalanga, but he conceded the penalty. Dusan establishing the lead into the second half now. And Dusan very effective there with a drop goal. Daylight there for Toulouse. Another well-struck penalty, stretching the gap to 12 points. But there was something in it in the end for Clermont Auvergne. Mike Delaney coming off the bench. He missed his first one. No problems with his second. And there is the final score. Toulouse beating Clermont Auvergne by 19 points to 12. That's it from the Stade des Vallons. From Tom May and myself, Martin Gillingham. I hope you've enjoyed your Top 14 weekend.